Hey, this is just a real quick note. First, forgive me if I've been unkind in anything that I've said in the text. It doesn't really, in the end, how I feel about each of you won't matter how you vote, and I hope the same is true for each of you, that it won't matter how I vote. I remember one time Michelle voted one party, I voted for another party, and neither of us let it bother the other that we canceled each other's votes, right? I think it's good to challenge each other on this vote, but underneath, I'm a little worried. I think that there's an intentional divisiveness at work in the nation to divide the United States. And I wish one candidate would speak up and be the unifying voice, but it's almost like we've picked two very extremes, unfortunately. There is no moderate in the middle. I'm going to email you both a report. It's a 2000 UN report from the United Nations on mass migration, and it's advocating for it. It's advocating for it based on decreasing populations in the West and the need to import more workers. Kind of at the secular level, I mean, it seems like a good argument. It's economic benefits. So you can read it in a good way. I think at two levels underneath, it's a step towards more of a one world government. And I think at a level underneath that, not recognized by many, based on who is migrating, it's a direct attack on Christianity and the West by the mass Islamic movement that has really invaded all of the West. The major cities in Europe are no longer the same. That's proof. That's fact. Paris, London, many places. Poland's an exception. But that's a demonic level to attack Christianity. But my point in sharing that is that the United Nations does not have the best intent for individual nations. They want to get rid of the nation state and move everything under a one world government. And I think regardless of which party gets in power, there's so much in play on that's going to be hard to resist. But I think that's one reason why Trump is very popular, is that he's shown a tendency to resist it. As you said, you never know what's going to change in the future, so you can't count on that. But his "Make America Great Again" rings true for those who recognize, for a certain portion of people, there's a good intent behind that, in that it keeps us from that ultimate state, which, by the way, the Bible clearly prophesies there will be a one world government. There will be one currency. If you don't behave by the rules, you will not be able to buy or sell. We haven't gotten there yet, but certainly the move to digital currency and more biometrics and just control of what we do, monitoring AI predictions, all of that's kind of moving us in that direction. But suffice it to say, no one wants to read this report. You don't have to read it, just scan it. Scan the headline, scan the first paragraph. But they're still putting out reports like that. They just met a week ago and took more steps. And if you just scan it, some of these reports that they put out, you wouldn't think it's a big deal. If I go much deeper, this will be a 20-minute video. But I guess my point is that what's underneath the surface and what's behind some of the candidates, even if we don't see it, some of it, one candidate, it's very obvious to me. The other candidate, so far so good, but just if he gets elected, hope he doesn't change his policies. But there's no guarantee of that. I guess I'm trying to make the point that there's a lot going on, and all the pieces do fit together. They really do, every piece, with a biblical viewpoint.